Hello, we're in Moscow and tonight I'm going to interview Ruslan Magomedov, Russian heavyweight UFC fighter.
Hi Ruslan, how do you do? I'm fine, thanks. I've just had my next fight fixed, so I'm very motivated. Please tell me what UFC will this be and when? The date is April the 10th and all this will happen in Zagreb. Well, they haven't decided yet whether it will be a main event of the evening or a second main event. The lineup is being decided upon at the moment. I mean other fighters, but Gonzaga and I will definitely take part in this tournament. Gabriel Gonzaga was scheduled as your opponent, and before that he had fought against Konstantin Yerokhin. Unfortunately for Russian fans, Yerokhin lost. What were the reasons for the defeat, in your opinion, other than the injury he had suffered in the first round? Well, I think he should have relied on boxing over some specific aspect of fighting. You should train in all directions. I'm not much of a wrestler either, but I go to gym and wrestle there. I do things that I'm not good at and try to improve. Yerokhin should have shown some right fighting, I don't know, be more tricky, use kicks. In other words, do something unexpected for Gonzaga. It might have brought him victory. How do you think is Gonzaga counting on the low level in the fight with you? What will be his strategy? You mean whether he'll box or wrestle? Exactly. I don't know. I think of trying boxing, and if he sees that I'm outplaying him, he might want to put me to low level and to keep me there, so to say, to ring or to exhaust me so that I get tired and become unable to work and to move as good as I did. I think this will be his strategy. Before winning over Yerokhin, he had 3 losses running. He lost to serious fighters, namely Mirko Filipovic and Stipe Miocic. By the way, these days Miocic is to title fight against Verdum. Do you think Gonzaga is becoming a has-been as he had so many losses in a row? If we take Verdum, he was losing fights constantly too. He had many defeats in the Pride and some issues with the UFC. But look at him now, he's one of the world's best heavyweights. Everyone has his rise and fall. The same thing with Arlovsky. He barely showed any result, and then there is a breakthrough, and he gets everybody talking about him. So this doesn't mean anything. Age and number of losses really mean nothing. We'll live and see. I hope Gonzaga is well prepared for the fight. You've already had 3 UFC fights and you won all of them. Thanks God, luckily. Yeah, luckily for all of us. You fought each of them till decision, so you won by decision. Could you tell me what is a strategy of yours, or things just happen this way? Well, they mostly say that I underwork and I need to be more aggressive and risky, but all this isn't typical of me. I don't risk much and show no aggression towards my opponent. I do my job. Well, I'm good at boxing and I try to do things I can do without risking. I don't fight till I'm 50 years old and then go around shaking my head like that when I'm 50. I may want my head yet. In fact, you're counting on your endurance. Well, yes, I'm quite tough, so it's your strong point. Yes, it's speed and endurance. In opinion of the people that watch fights, I lack cannonball punch that a heavyweight should have. To me, this is a native trait that you don't have necessarily. Some athletes hardly bench press but knock people out of consciousness with a single punch. It's their native trait. As to myself, I'm not a puncher. You mentioned an interesting thing by saying more a boxer than a wrestler. However, there is a popular belief in Russia, and I think this applies to the USA too, that all Dagestani are wrestlers. How come? Oh yeah, we're all born this way. Yes, the belief persists. So how come you became a boxer? Did you have a special training course? Well, I had small love for wrestling since my childhood. I just didn't like it. I don't know why. I liked football and boxing too, but not wrestling. And then somehow MMA got me and one cannot do without wrestling there, so I try to wrestle now. Did you spend your childhood in Dagestan or did you live in Moscow? Well, I'm sort of a globetrotter, as they say. I've been to lots of places and moved a lot when I was a kid and had to change lots of schools too because my parents divorced. So I moved across Russia pretty lot. And now you live in Moscow. Right. There are 2.5 months left before you fight, or even less. Could you tell me about your training plans? Are you going to any training camps, and where do you plan to have main trainings? Indeed, I am, as it's very hard to train in Moscow, take its traffic. Getting to a gym is already a challenge. I'm going to AKA. I hope Daniel Cormier and Luke Rockhold will train there too, as they both have fights for the belt, and as we know, both of them are best in their categories. I think 2 months of training with them will be just right. Last time I took 45 days and now I take 2 months. Does overtraining influence a fighter in any way? Surely it does. Overtraining means extremely hard work and one is completely exhausted after that. But I think that it's better to undertrain than to overtrain. It's better to last for 2 rounds and run around the ring in the 3rd one looking for free corners. But these 2 first rounds will definitely be yours as you had stamina. And if you overtrain, you won't be able to show any fight even in the 1st round and lose as a consequence. It's a delicate thing and this is where coach should step in. For example, Xavier Mendes, who I go to very often and who I call my coach as he trained many legends like Velasquez and Rockhold, looks at me and says, "Go and have some rest, you got too tired." I don't object, just grab my bag and go, because he knows better. Don't get morally tired in these 2.5 months. Training is endless, so there might be some point where your spirits start to wear thin. True, I was living alone while I was preparing for my previous fight, and it really fell hard on me. Some friends of mine like Islam Makhachev came to boost their morale, and even more fighting pals came later. Well, they did help a bit, but still it is very hard to be without your family. I haven't left for AKA yet, because I'm obtaining visas for my family. My wife and son, they will get them as soon as possible and we'll go together. What does your family think about the sport you're in? Do they support you? Do they worry? Of course, well, my son is 3 years old, almost 4. He's always airboxing, saying he's like daddy. He's happy. And my wife, well, she understands that I'm good at it and there are many things I can achieve in the sport if I go in the right direction, so she supports me as well. There is a fad in the USA called trash talking, which is yet uncommon in Russia due to Russian people's mindset. However, some of Russian fighters somehow try. Certain fighters, I would put it. Yes, some fighters picked it up. I'd say that they did it looking at Conor McGregor. True. Well, it was McGregor who actually originated it. No doubt. What do you think of it? Do you take part in trash talks or plan to do it? You mean, do I have a list of people to throw mud at? Oh, well, I try to follow Fyodor Yemelyanenko's steps in this respect. The image of the man entering the ring with a straight face, fighting, winning, raising a flag and then leaving without unnecessary emotions. You show everything you've got in the cage. McGregor is so popular because he walks that talk. That's why. Do you consider trash talk as another advantage? Is it possible to shatter the morale of your opponent? Before McGregor spent a whole year mocking at Aldo, we had thought that this trash-talking thing hardly meant anything. But in fact, all McGregor's talk somehow got firmly fixed in Aldo's head, and to everyone's surprise, his performance was worse than ever. So I think it probably has its impact. So Aldo's defeat was a consequence of a psychological harassment? Definitely, because Aldo is a very strong fighter. In other words, he had lost the fight before it began. Absolutely, he stood in front of McGregor with that "I want to go home" look, and this he did in 15 seconds. Imagine if not Gonzaga, but some other fighter you're about to counter starts acting like that, provoking to exchange verbally in public. What will you do? Well, I'll simply say, why so much talk? Let's go to the cage and show what we've got. What's the use? So it's almost impossible to taunt you into anything? What for? There's no use in the taunt fencing. What is McGregor's phenomenon based on, in your opinion? Well, I don't know. He trains as much as everyone else does. Suppose it's his destiny. Somebody is watching him from above. So it's a God's gift. Yes, something of that kind. The same is with Jones Johnson. He is also a very talented guy. We went to training camps together a couple of times and we spoke about it. He said, "I'm talented and I know it," and I thought, a modest dude this guy is. He's really talented anyway. So back to McGregor. He's gifted as well. Some 3-4 years ago, he used to be plumber or whoever, a pipe fitter, right. I mean, all jobs are good, but look at this huge leap. It was replacing pipes 4 years ago, and now he drives the latest Lamborghini. He's gifted, isn't he? Ruslan, thank you very much for the interview. All Russian fans wish you good luck and hope you'll win. Thank you, I'll do my best.
Thank you for watching, guys, and see you again.